What's up, everybody? This is Kyron Williams with the Los Angeles Rams running back. I'm super excited to see you at the Fantasy Sports Summit.
Good morning, guys. Happy Monday. Hope you guys had an outstanding weekend, guys. Football is back, and I put together a special Monday morning episode here for you guys. We're talking fantasy football must-have players. Now, the players that I have on here are actually on the show. So you're going to see it. Kyron Williams, Trey Benson, Tajay Spears, Rashid Shaheed. I had him on my show previously. Now I actually put all the interviews together here on one video in this throwback from about a few weeks ago when I had them on my show. Now this is a special here for you in regards to the Fantasy Sports Summit here, guys, to help promote the Fantasy Sports Summit. If you guys aren't aware, this week, this Wednesday, August 21st, 7:30 Eastern, we are doing a live Fantasy Sports Summit. This is an online conference held from the comfort of your home, guys. You can get your tickets below. Tickets are limited. You can combo these with the 16-round draft solution for the best available price. But guys, hop on over right now onto the link, grab the 16-round draft solution and the summit ticket, and you get to see these guys live and have a chance to ask them questions and come hang out with them. Hope you guys enjoy these interviews and this throwback here. Again, it's only a couple weeks ago when we had them on. I put it all together in this video. Hope you guys enjoy this video here with these interviews. Great guys, great personalities, and must-haves for your fantasy football draft, okay? So if you guys want to see these guys live, have a chance to ask them questions, come hang out. Also, I didn't include it here, but Pat Fryermuth is also going to be at the show, and Frank Gore Jr., son of legendary Frank Gore, will be there, and you're entered for a PS5. Guys, it's going to be amazing. Fantasy analysis, hanging out with NFL athletes, all at the Fantasy Sports Summit, guys. Grab your ticket below. And again, enjoy the interviews here with the athletes that I've had over the past couple weeks. It's been a lot of fun. Hope you guys enjoy the interaction. Drop a thumbs up, smash it, tap it, slap it. And again, secure the ticket to the Fantasy Sports Summit. Hope you guys enjoy the interview. Have an outstanding Monday. I got all four of these here for you guys. These interviews, enjoy them. I'll see you guys at the end of the videos.
Hey, it's Rashid Shaheed, and I'll see y'all at the Fantasy Sports Summit, August 21st. Can't wait.
All right, what would a top 10 episode be without actually having a top 10 running back on the show? And we've got fantasy royalty in the house. Kyron Williams, welcome to the show, man. Excited to have you on.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you having me, Joe. Excited to be on here.
I appreciate it, and I love your energy. We talked a few minutes before you coming on, man. I got a couple great questions for you. I want to get right to it, but the first question is really, how have you embraced fantasy football royalty? Because again, you're a little off the grid. You know, fifth round pick in 2022. Nothing really happened in the rookie season. And then you went from like, kind of being unknown in fantasy to like top of fantasy. It was like, how have you embraced it? Because it's a lot, man. It's a lot to take on, probably from on Twitter, on social media. How have you embraced the fantasy community? And more importantly, how has the community embraced you really? Both ways.
Yeah, I think they've definitely embraced me well. You know, they love me. They love everything that I've done, everything that I've been able to produce since coming off the waivers. That's all I hear is, "You won me my championship. Thank you so much. I'm so glad I picked you up off the waivers." And I've been telling them like, "Man, you should have been got me." But it's all right now. Now they know. But no, the way I've addressed the fantasy football is, like you said, early on in my career, it wasn't really much fantasy football at all. You know, there wasn't anybody talking about fantasy football at all until last year. And then I remember, oh my goodness, fantasy football is actually a thing. I forgot that it actually exists. And so now I embraced it. It's awesome being able to hear everybody talk about how I'm winning them championships, how I'm winning them prizes, and just talk about how like I'll get different cameos about asking just draft orders. Like that's cool too, being a part of people's draft orders and allowing them to just be, find that way to allow them to win championships.
I love how you embraced it. There's a lot of players that are kind of, I don't care about your teams. But again, you probably know this, but a lot of players aren't aware of this. Your fantasy points are directly proportional in line with your reality. So when you have a game where you have 2 touchdowns, that's good for reality and good for fantasy. I guess where the problem comes in is a lot of people end up trolling a lot. They're like, hey,
Yeah.
I'm known for that. You guys suck this week, but I won't do it to you. But sometimes I'm known to do that. And a lot of people do that on Twitter as well. So I'm glad that you've embraced it. Hopefully you don't take anything personally. It's just our fantasy teams, our livelihoods, our fantasy championships. No pressure at all, So I got some important questions here. So that was the first one here. Now, what I love about you, I'm not just trying to kiss button here. I really genuinely love this about you because I've been the underdog my life as well. And I'm trailblazing, and I know you're trailblazing as well. You were a 5th round pick. And to be quite honest with you, it's like, a lot of people, it feels like, a 5th round guy, it's just kind of slept on. It's like, that guy's not going to do anything. He's not going to amount to anything. I mean, what's the thought process, being drafted fifth, knowing, because now we know, and a lot of people, it's unfortunate, a lot of running backs are kind of buried on depth chart. They never get that chance. What was your thought process, knowing how good you actually are? Knowing that you didn't really get the chance, and what was it like? I got to get my chance. Was it kind of like I got to get out there? Were you like itching to get out there? What's the thought process being drafted in the fifth, knowing your talent?
It's like you said, like it's doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where you go. It's knowing the belief and the confidence that you have in yourself. So, like you said, I knew I could play football. I knew I was ready to play in the NFL. It's just whatever those teams whatever those teams decided for me to go, that's where it was going to happen, and I can't control that. And so, coming to the Los Angeles Rams, my mindset would have been the same if I would have drafted to any other team. I want to take over that running back spot. I want to be the running back starter. I want to be the guy that the coaches come to and say, "I need you for this play. I need you right here." So that's always been my mentality. No matter where I was drafted, no matter where I was drafted, I was gonna go make my mark anywhere.
No, I love it, man. I was watching tape on you just before this, and I mean, your vision's amazing. You got a nose for the end zone, and the ability to extend plays after you catch the ball out of the backfield. It's pretty remarkable. I just want to know kind of your mentality when you're on the field. I was talking about Trey Benson, with this as well. I mean, what are you thinking? You run hard, you run strong. Is your mentality like, I got to take down the other guys? Is it a battle against yourself? Is it an inner game, or is it like, I got to take out the opponent and when you run angry? What is kind of just going through your brain when you're running amazing like that?
Man, I want to take it back to like it's the survival of the fittest. Honestly, like, are you willing to go the extra length? Are you willing to go the extra mile? And I'm willing to do that. And so it's really depending on what the defense wants to do. If you want to fold and bend over, then that's on y'all. But I'm not gonna stop. I'm always I'm gonna stop until the fat lady sings. So that's when I'm gonna stop. So it's just the mindset of I'm gonna be better than you every single time.
I love it. I love your mentality. Now I want to draft you more. I love your energy too. Energy is a huge thing. Love your energy, man. That's
Thank
huge.
you.
Some more important questions here. You hit such an amazing mark. I mean, 12 games, over 1,144 yards, 12 touchdowns, 15 all-purpose. That's pretty phenomenal in only playing 12 games. What are your expectations for this year? You hit such a high. I mean, it's so hard not hard. I don't want to say the word hard. I don't want to limit ourselves here, right? But you hit such a pinnacle. Is your mind like, I got to beat that? Like, what's kind of the thought process here? How are you going to improve this year? And have you done anything in regards physically to kind of and mentally to improve and expand on what you did last year?
To me, for real, this year is just building off what I did last year. I don't really got to do too much. I know how to play the game of football. I've been playing since I was in the second grade. God blessed me with this blessing, this gift to go able to do what I'm doing right now. And so I don't want to put too much pressure on myself. I really my focus this year is becoming an all around leader. Being a guy who that players come to talk to about anything, about football, about life, about anything. I want to be that person that that's in the locker room that is willing to go, like I said, the extra mile for everybody, and the leader that showing an example of whether that's verbally or if that's just showing by actions. That's what I want to be, man. I want to be a leader, dog. I want to be a captain. I want to be somebody that these people that play ball on the Rams, players on the Rams, that they look up to me.
Important question here. Is any advice for players, particularly running backs, that get drafted later in drafts or are buried in depth charts and know they have the talent like yourself? Is there any advice for some young guys coming out this year in regards to kind of how to handle the NFL based on basically if they were drafted lower than they should have been? Any advice to those guys?
Yeah, man, don't put no limit or no cap or anything that you can do. You know what you can do. You know your capabilities. Don't let somebody who met you just yesterday tell you what you can do and what you can't do. This is your script. Write it how you want it to be written, and continue to work hard, man. No matter where you drafted, the fifth round, the first round, everybody still got to get a job. They still got to make their job. They still got to perform no matter what it is. So do that and do it to the fullest, and you won't have any regrets.
Definitely. I don't know if you can answer this, but is there any running backs or if you've done any research on any rookies that are standing out to you? Now, I'm a big Trey Benson fan. Love what he did. Loved his combine. There's even your counterpart there in the committee. Blake Corum looks great on paper. Who is there? Other guys. Marshawn Lloyd looks great as well. Did my research on rookies. Is there any rookies that kind of caught your eye this year that are kind of like really jumping out at you? Say, man, that guy looks really good. He might do some special things in the NFL.
I think they all possess their own, talents in their own way. I remember watching Trey play in college. He was really good. We actually played against him my junior year, He was
Yeah.
really good in college. Like you said, Marshawn Lloyd from USC, really good in college. Blake as well, really good. So I'm just excited to see what these guys bring to the NFL because it's the same game. It's the same game they've been playing since, like I said, in second grade or however when they started. So I'm super excited to see what they do. And like I said, it's always a good thing when running backs eat.
What do you do in your spare time? Got some fun questions here. What do you do in your spare time? Video games, anything like that?
Take care of my dog. I like to golf. Get into cooking. I'm trying to, get on the grill. I'm trying to get in the kitchen so I can be all around person, not just a football player, but I can do everything. I like to read a little bit. I like to get outside. Honestly, I like to just be outside, not in the house. I like to see what the world has to offer.
You're cooking up fantasy points, that's for sure. All right, a couple rapid fire questions. A couple from I put a story mode on. Ask some questions from the listeners here. One of them is, should we draft you? That's straight from a fantasy football fan. Should we draft you, Kyren Williams, for 2024?
Is the elephant heavy? Duh.
Absolutely.
Draft me. Draft me.
I love the confidence, man. That is absolutely huge. LeBron or Jordan? That's another rapid fire question.
LeBron.
Really? Because you're younger, man.
I'm a young guy. I'm a young guy. You feel me? I gotta give it to LeBron, man.
I'm a big time Jordan fan. I grew up with them. That mentality is second to none. Maybe Kobe. You could say Kobe. Maybe
Yeah, Kobe. I like Kobe. I like Kobe too. I like Kobe a lot.
That's the mentality. Greatest. This is maybe it's a tough question. Greatest running back all time. I'm really curious your thoughts on. This is a tough one. I hope maybe you have the answer. I don't know.
I'd say the greatest running back of all time is Barry Sanders.
Okay.
But my GOAT growing up as a running back position was probably LaDainian Tomlinson or Steven Jackson.
Okay. I'm an
because that's the guys who I watched. I didn't get to see Barry Sanders play. I only get to watch the documentaries that he has out now. I didn't get to watch Emmitt Smith play. I know a lot about him, but I can't call him my GOAT if I didn't watch him play.
Yeah,
or go up watching him.
The crazy thing is, I could be talking to the greatest of all time right here. Just keep going. I mean,
I'm working for that. I am literally working for that.
I love the mentality, man. I mean, the only thing that was kind of hindering me from me this year, I like the value of you last year. Not everybody's on it. That's the thing with me, right? I like to get running backs that are being slept on, like the guys that are budding up. Now I got to pay so much for you, which again, I don't mind doing, but I just liked you when you were a value. I hate it when, like, for example, Sam Laporta, I told everybody to draft Sam Laporta last year when everybody was sleeping on him. I'm like, dude, great position. He's going to get a ton of work at tight end. Draft him. Now everybody's drafting Sam Laporta round 2.
Oh, yeah.
So that's the thing with me, man. I kind of like the stock when it's a little bit low instead of overpaying. But man, after this conversation, I like you more and more.
I'm glad to hear that.
I know you might not be able to answer this. In regards to depth chart, I mean, is there anything in regards to volume distribution? Have they told you? Because I heard this was actually pretty public that you're going to be catching the ball in the backfield. Is there any inkling in regards to how much volume you're going to get? Do you have an idea? Is it kind of expect the same thing last year, or do you have any idea on what to expect from you this year in regards to volume?
I mean, I don't really like to talk on what I don't know. Coach McVay has not had a conversation with me about anything about playing wise, but I don't expect anything to change. I expect Blake and I to be a great duo, allow us to be able to complement off each other, even if that's Ronnie Rivers and Zach Evans. We got 4 running backs who are capable of playing football, and I'm excited to see what we can do. And however the chips may fall, they fall. But we're gonna work, and we're gonna make sure that we get that work done.
Perfect, because there's a good thing going on right now in not for fantasy guys, but for reality in regards to Detroit with the Montgomery Gibbs connection. And Gibbs did phenomenal, even with Montgomery having over 200 attempts and 13 touchdowns, and Gibbs still finishes as a top 10 fantasy running back. So if you're a good man, you're going to get on the field, which you are, and I'm excited. Last question here, real quick. Your health, because some people as fantasy heads were shallow. That guy got hurt. He only played 12 games. I don't know what he's going to do this year. How you feeling physically? Just want to kind of get a feel for you.
I'm great. Yeah, good. I'm good. Keyed in on the offseason, really getting my body right. I wasn't really working much. I wasn't really grounded and pounding on my feet and on my legs and all that stuff. I was really focused on just making sure my body is symmetrical. The right side is firing like the left side. The top is like the bottom. I'm trying to make sure everything is aligned so that I can go do what I do, because once I feel good, I can play good. I'm really good at this football game. So that's just what I do. So I'm not concerned about being injured. I don't really think about that. I'm thinking about going to win the Super Bowl this year, playing 21 games.
Exactly. And I ended on a positive note here. Just the last thing. I saw some of your training videos as of late. You absolutely look like a beast out there, man. Looking very impressive, very quick,
Appreciate that.
very strong. Knock on wood, man. God bless. Hopefully everything goes really well for you. I'm really excited that you're part of this and you accepted the invitation to come to the Fantasy Sports Summit. It means a lot to me. It means a lot to the fantasy community. And I think a lot of people appreciate that because I know talking to a lot of listeners, my DM inundated and talking to thousands and thousands of people, everybody appreciates the running backs that appreciate us because we're a big part of your success. I mean, we're out there cheering for you. We're your biggest cheerleader.
Right.
We appreciate that you guys are embracing us. And I think a lot of people will get that vibe from listening to this interview. A lot of people are already saying, man, we like Trey Benson. We're going to draft him after that interview. And I think they're going to get the same. More people are going to come on to the Kyren train, including myself. I ended up fading you in a couple drafts. It's nothing personal. It's just that I was missing out on you and I ended up getting
Yeah.
like Saquon fell to me and, stuff like that. So,
Hey, look, I'm used to it, man. You ain't gotta say nothing else. I already know. People are gonna sleep, they're gonna sleep, but I'm gonna rest my job to wake y'all up. So that's what I'm doing. So y'all pick whoever y'all want to pick. I'm gonna tell you you're wrong though.
I love the mentality, man. I got to go back and do another draft to get you first overall. That's
I'm trying to tell you. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to tell these people.
All right, Kyron, I appreciate this. This means a lot, man. You guys can see him at the Fantasy Sports Summit. Super excited. August 21st, 7:30. Grab your tickets below. Kyron, man, absolute pleasure. Better than I expected. I thought it'd be a great conversation, but your energy was, amazing. So thank you, man, for being
Thank you.
on.
Appreciate you for having me, man. Have a good day, Joe. I can't wait to see y'all at the summit, August 21st. Be ready. Be there or be square.
It's going to be big, guys. We'll talk soon. We're out. All right, man. Since we're talking about big time must have running backs on this show, I had to have one of my must have running backs for fantasy football 2024. It's Tyjae Spears of the Tennessee Titans. Welcome to the show, man. I'm excited to have you.
Man, I'm excited to be here. I appreciate it. Hey, man, I appreciate your hat too, man. I see you repping.
I'm representing today, but don't get too excited because I have a bunch of hats behind me. I'm more supporting my players, my fantasy players. I don't have any so much team loyalty, but I do like the Titans. I do like, the city. I love Tennessee. Great place, man. I've been down there. I think I was there for the draft a couple years ago, man. Amazing people.
No, it is. It's super. It's super great down here.
Yeah, I appreciate having you, man. Just had Trey Benson on the show, super nice guy. Had Kyren Williams on the show, super nice guy. I'm excited to have you on. People are excited because what the amazing thing about this is that a lot of fantasy players just see you as a number. Oh, he's RB, whatever he is. I'm going to draft him. But I really love this because we're able to put a personality behind, the number and the statistics and everything like that. So I'm really blessed and grateful to have, created this, to have you guys on here so that you guys can kind of connect with some of the listeners. So again, first of all, thank you for coming on again, man. Super pumped.
I appreciate you, man.
So first and foremost, I got so many questions here. I want to dive in first and foremost to tell you, are you familiar with fantasy football? Are you aware on where you're coming off in drafts right now? I just want to get an idea on your sense on how you're kind of viewed by 80 million plus people that play fantasy. 80 million plus people play fantasy across North America. I just wanted to know kind of if you know where you're sitting on the rankings or if you even care at this point,
No, I'm not really too much familiar with it. Some of my friends play, but I really don't know where I'm sitting, and like I really don't care either.
Okay. There's a little bit of disrespect here. When I told Trey Benson that he's RB 42 amongst running backs, he kind of was like, kind of take it back. I'm like, are you kidding me? So this is crazy. You're sitting as RB 29 and you're 92 overall, meaning you're coming off in round 7 in fantasy football drafts, which is
How many rounds they have?
it's typically around, it depends on how many players you have in your league and how many bench spots on your roster, but typically 20 rounds if you have a lot. And you're coming off round 7, again, which is disrespectful. The way I view you, Taj, I'm going to be straight up with you. And the way I've been telling my listeners is this. Derrick Henry was always drafted typically in round 1, okay? And I look at him as a guy, you're coming in to fill those shoes. And those are big shoes to fill because he's the king, right? That's how he's known as, right? So I look at a guy who's primed to take over that volume. We're looking at 280 freed up rushing attempts, right? So again, that's how I view you. So I'm really excited about you. I see a lot of upside, but you would know better, man. What kind of get right to it? What are your statistical goals for this year? Is there any? I know there's team goals, and I get that, the big vision. But for you personally, what are some personal goals for you going into the season and kind of expectations?
Yeah, it's just the first thing. Like, of course, Derrick Henry did what he did, and he gonna always be, the king over here in history. But like, it's not in my agenda to fill his shoes. It's in my agenda to like create my own path and walk in my own
Right.
shoes and walk in my own steps because I can never be Derrick Henry. And honestly, like, and but I can always be Tajay Spears. So it's not in my intentions to
Right.
be him or to mimic him, to mimic anything he doing. I'm following my own path, and I'm gonna create my own lane in this organization, and I'm be, so yeah, I'm just following my own path and do it like that. Of course, like you got a lot of respect for the guys that him and a lot of guys that came before him, like Eddie
For sure.
George and Chris Johnson and all that. But it's just, man, I don't get too big into statistics. I just want to be the best I can be. Be the best teammate I can be the best leader I can. It's just like help my team in every which way. No matter if I got to get on special teams, no matter if whatever I have to do in order for to help my team. What I'm saying, be the best we can be. Throughout the course of the season and postseason and in hopes to get to however far we're going, in hopes to get to is winning as many games as we can. That's what I'm gonna do. And
Yeah.
it's just I just kind of be like selfless right now and like not really too focused, too worried about myself and worry about all the goals that that I can achieve. It's just like what can we do together, what I'm saying, because at the end of the day that's what really matters.
Yeah, and I want to first of all, amazing lion mentality. I appreciate that, and I like your attitude towards everything. And I want to stand corrected on that. I don't mean like fill his shoes, kind of like be like. I mean like there's just so much volume
It's
to be
just
had.
it's
Yeah,
no I promise there's no
yeah,
offense to it's no offense that
yeah,
I took to you or what I'm saying. I'm just trying to correct you. It's just like
for
that
sure.
that get thrown out there a lot. It's like
Yeah,
me, if you really know me, if like you want your fans, like if you want the fans that's listening to get to know me, like, bro,
yeah.
I came from nothing. Like the last thing I'm trying to do is try to mimic somebody else or be somebody else. Like I'm Tajay Spears in the flesh, and I'm gonna be the best I can be day in and day out.
I love that, man, and I love that. What I mean, yeah, again, there's just so much volume to be had, and I know you've got a big role for yourself
I know,
personally.
yeah,
So,
man. I know
yeah,
exactly. I know
you get
exactly
what I
what you
meant.
talk about, man. I
Yeah,
know
yeah.
exactly what you talk about.
So
You good?
I wasn't comparing you to him, but yeah, no, I'm glad you explained that. So thank you. So I really want to talk about also, could you because you talk about like kind of being the underdog, the hardships. Are you talking particularly about your kind of upbringing? Or are you talking about the injury in
Just like
2020? Can you kind of give us some context? I want to learn more about you because I've heard stories like write ups on Wikipedia, blah blah blah, and like Reddit and blah blah blah. And this, I kind of want to hear from you because I'm an underdog myself, but I want to kind of hear your kind of underdog story or like kind of your you said you're blessed to be here. Obviously, what were some of these obstacles you had to overcome? Because I'm really fascinated. And I love people that overcome adversity because I've done it myself. I'm really curious to hear your story.
yeah, it's just like, even from, just from growing up as a kid, like, you face adversity in the eyes like so many times, it becomes second nature. So like, of course, growing up, like growing through a lot, from the neighborhood and just, seeing a lot of different things that I wasn't supposed to see at a young age. And like that translating into, into me in my football where, lack of opportunities and not getting opportunities, not getting the correct exposure. Like my high school coach did the best he could with me, but I still didn't get the correct exposure because I told my ACL my first year of high school, and throughout the course, like just trying to earn myself and prove to my coach and earn a role on my high school team, and finally got it. And of course, like a few minor injuries that held me back, and finally got my shot. So just playing 1 year high school football, it was kind of hard for me to get like crazy amount of offers. So I had to roll with what I had, and like just at Tulane. Just I don't I was just I had a struggle with like with my ACT. So with my ACT to get into that. So like I took the ACT like 5, 6 different times and I finally passed it the last time after like 2, 3 months of studying, like, almost every day driving 30 minutes away. So it's a lot of adversity that I had to face, and the list can go on and on and on. It's just like, just dealing with those trials and looking them in the eye and overcoming them. And like that's a part of my that's a part of my background, man. Adversity overcoming. So it's just super cool to be in this space in this time and with this opportunity, man. I'm so blessed.
Yeah, and you're in such, like I said, such a good situation for you there with Tennessee with that revamped offense there. But one more thing I want to talk about the past, then we'll move forward here. 2020, I was reading stuff. I just kind of want to hear from you. 2020, you had multiple games, 100 yards rushing. Then you had the ACL meniscus knee injury, and then
Uh,
again you bounced back and you had an amazing year in 2022. Just to give everybody some context here, 19 touchdowns on the ground, 1,500 yards in the last year of college, 229 attempts. correct me if I'm wrong here. There was something I read as I was reading those. Was there a point where you felt like, oh, I want to quit, or it got so hard after that knee tear, or was there any thought like that? Because again, I read something. Was that true that you almost kind of gave up there, or just wanted to kind of throw in the towel, or is that not true?
Yeah, of course. Like when you're in the middle of a storm, like, and you don't see, you know what I'm saying, you in the eye of the storm, and you don't really see you don't see no light at the end of the tunnel. Of course, it get hard. Like, of course, those thoughts came across my head like a quitting, because you thinking like you'll never be the same again, and also it's just like you just thinking like you'll never be the same again. But like with the support system that I had, like within my athletic trainers, my family, my dad, my mom, my brothers, they just kept me, they kept my spirit alive, and they kept me going, they kept me enduring. And also, like, in the process, you see small victories, and you run with them. So now, it built me up to the person I am today.
I'm curious also, can you walk us through like a kind of a typical day for you in training, kind of diet? We just kind of want to get a feel for. That's another reason why I really want to do this is because again, we see you on game day, right? Like it's like I did some MMA in the past. Train hard, fight easy, right? Was kind of my mentality, right? Sometimes those sparring sessions were always harder than the actual fight.
Mhm.
How rigorous is your training right now? I know training camp is just starting, but how rigorous and how rough is your training camps? And like a typical day. Can you guys give us like an overview of your days?
See, like, you just like, it's just like so many people be. It's just honestly like it just man, it's so hard. Like it is hard because like me personally, like you just try to push yourself and push yourself and push yourself. Like every day is a new day. It don't really matter what you did the previous day. Every day is a new day for you to go reach new heights and go push yourself to the max. And also the same amount of the same time that you spend pushing yourself, you also got to recover so you can be ready for the next day, and also so you can replenish your body. So it's like right now we hitting and getting it. So like your typical whatever your typical 12-hour day, like that's what everybody around the league doing. It's just like how consistent can you be within them 12 hours? That's what's gonna set you apart. That's what's gonna give you the edge. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I try to not to focus my lens on, on other people around the league or focus on other people. I just try to focus on, what I can do and who I can be and within my 24 hours and, just be the best I can be.
Okay, and again, I'm going back to my fantasy hat here, and you probably don't know this. I heard that head coach Callahan was saying something along the line with volume distribution. They're going to kind of ride the hot hand. They haven't decided on who the one is, who the two is. I understand it's a team effort, but do you have any inkling on week one who's coming out on that first drive? I mean, no word again, probably
Hey
because
man, I let the coaches coach and I let the coaches make the tough decisions, and I just they gonna put me in position, whatever the position they put me in is on me to make it in. You know what I'm saying? Like that's why I'm working so hard. So put myself in the best position. Also put myself in the best position, but first put myself in the best position to help the team. So whatever
yeah.
decision that they make, that's kind of on them. That's why they in the position they in. So they got to handle their business when it comes to that.
And that's the same feeling I'm getting from every running back I've talked to. It's like you guys are just going to put your best foot
Yeah,
forward and
because
go
it's
from
just
there.
like, if you focus on trying to do your job, if you focus on trying to do your job and somebody else's job, if you try to focus on doing your job and some stuff that you cannot control, you ain't even gonna be able to do your job right. So
Absolutely.
before I even sit up here and get in my head on trying to do coach job,
You're
I
right.
ain't doing that.
You're
I
right.
ain't doing that. They're
It's
gonna, you know what I'm saying? And I just think like, man. I just wash my hands with it all. Like I say, show up with it. Showing up every day, being a consistent person that I am, that I strive to be, and
It's the
that's
old,
it.
it's the old mentality of just building the tallest tower. That's what I'm about. If I focus on another person's podcast, another person, then I'm not focusing on myself. So I'm just building my tallest tower, and that's what I'm getting from you guys, which is the best way to be. But yeah, it just seems like there's a lot of committees going on right now, a lot of uncertainty. And from our point of view, just to give you some context, because again, we're just thinking like, who's going to start? Who's going to give me fantasy points? So we're a little shallow and greedy, and that's straight up. That's how fantasy heads think. Like,
Nah.
you know,
Yeah, I understand. I understand. I
yeah.
understand.
But as you're, because I know you're gonna have a big year. I'm confident you're gonna have a big year. I'm very intuitive with that, and yeah, exactly. The year that Kareem Hunt broke out, I talked to him. He was endorsing the brand. The year David Johnson 2016 on the Cardinals broke out, he was endorsing the brand. I'm just like it's knock on wood. I've been very good at this. I'm very intuitive. So I want to give you a heads up though with fantasy community. Like I said, as you get bigger and bigger in fantasy, they're going to come at you on Twitter, on Instagram. Just don't take it personally and understand. And I was telling the other guys this as well, Kyron, that your fantasy points are directly proportional to reality. So
Yeah.
if you get like 2 touchdowns in a game, it's good because it actually helps you in fantasy. And so many players come out and I don't care about your fantasy teams, but I think that's also related to just people trolling you a lot. It's like, oh, you didn't do anything, blah, blah, blah. And it just gets to you to the point where you're like, I don't want to hear it anymore, you know? So hopefully they go easy on you because you look like a super nice guy, really humble, man. I like it.
I be chilling, man. Hey, they gonna have their opinion at the end of the day, and it don't even really matter, man. I ain't even on social media right now anyway, so I ain't gonna be able to see it.
They're pretty chill. Yeah, I saw some of your training videos lately. You look really good though. The videos that you are showing, you look like you're in the zone, which is good. Honed in.
Yes, sir.
Hold it and focused. I also want to ask you, man, how's the dynamic going now? Like Will Levis, you got Ridley there now, Hopkins, Boyd. How is the team chemistry? You guys been going out, chilling a lot, training a lot. Do you feel? I guess are you feeling really good about this offense now with these new additions all around, man? Is it
Yeah,
exciting?
man, it's great, man. It's great, and like you said, we've been doing a lot together. We've been doing a lot of team bonding, so we feel good about this group, and we feel good about like our camaraderie and all that. And like when it's time to work, everybody come to work, and everybody get the everybody get the amount of work within the amount of time that we get that we amounted. So like man, everything is going good, but like I said, every day you got to keep on climbing that ladder.
Yeah, it's amazing how humble some of you guys are. Most of you guys are now after talking to you. It's pretty amazing. I want to know also kind of what do you do for fun? Kind of like rapid fire, like, what do you do for fun basically? What's
What
kind of
do
like
I do for fun?
your
What do I
downtime?
do for fun? What do I do for fun? Dang.
Sounds
What
like
do I
work
do?
all the time by the sounds of it.
I don't really work. So look, I be watching. So I kind of like, I like been watching. I've been watching a lot of different movies. Like
I've been
I'm
watching
big.
Cobra Kai. I just been
Yeah,
watching. Did you watch
I ain't
Cobra
watching
Kai?
that though. I ain't
No.
watching that though. I'm
Okay.
watching like I be watching like BET Plus. What else I do for fun? Uh, I like going bowling. Me and my dad go bowling often.
Okay.
Almost every time I'm home. What else? It's something else that I really like doing. Bowling. It was another event, bro. I really started like I forgot. It's gonna come back to me in about 2 seconds, 3 seconds.
But no video game stuff like that for you.
No, I really don't like video games. I don't really have too much patience and like sit around. I kind of
Yeah.
get fidgety and I can't stay on the game. I've been and quit before you know it because I just start. I've been to start losing. I've been to quit. But like I used to growing up. I not growing up, but like in like college, high school. I used to really like Fortnite though.
Okay. Okay.
Fortnite and GTA. But other than that, no, I don't play games no more.
I'm
I
more of
have
a.
two dogs too, so
What kind of dogs are they?
I have a pit bull and a fluffy Frenchie.
Okay. Yeah, I think I asked Kyron what he does, and he says he hangs out with his dogs.
Yeah, I be trying to hang out with them, but they hard headed and
Now I know where you guys get that inner dog from when you're running. It's like, man, you know what I mean? It's like,
I gotta do this for my dogs back at home.
yeah, yeah. I asked the other guys the same question. I'm going to ask you as well. This pretty. I got a couple more questions here, but one more question here really is like, what are you thinking mentally? Like some running backs, they're like, I got to rip the guy's arm off when I'm running or push him, whatever. Like they call run hard. What is some of the thought process like mentally as you're running? I'm just curious, kind of your thought process.
That's crazy because I ask myself the same question, but I really don't. I really don't be thinking about nothing. Like I be so focused trying to get past this guy. Like I really don't. In a moment, I really don't be thinking about nothing. Like I just be trying to. I really don't know.
Kind of
And it's,
muscle
and
memory,
that's when
right?
I be in my flow. I really don't be thinking, so I just react and let it happen. When I'm in my flow, I love when I'm in my flow. But when I'm thinking, I don't know. When I'm thinking, for me, that's a problem. So I try to like stay in my flow and like be the best and be in the moment. But but
Okay.
when I start thinking, so I'm gonna start thinking like it's gonna be me or it's gonna be you, and
Yes.
I know who it's gonna be, but I ain't gonna tell you who it's gonna be. I'm gonna just let you see it, but.
David Goggins. I don't know if you heard of David Goggins. Probably heard of him. Marathon runner, former Navy guy, motivational kind of guy. He talks about taking the other person's soul. He's like, it's just a figure of speech. If you guys are racing, right? It's like, okay, survival of the fittest. Kyron Williams was saying as well. You just got to outdo your defender. It kind of, that primal instinct comes in, and you just tear it up. I think it sounds like it kicks in with with the mentality and your muscle memory and all the training you put in. I guess it sounds like it just automatic and you kind of go, so
Yeah, it do some, and like that's why it's so hard to explain it because you know what I'm saying. Like I don't know, it's just like I don't think I really ever really like. I talk a lot of stuff, but I don't really talk that much stuff though.
okay, sounds good. I believe in you this year, 100%. I believe in you, but understand this: once you take off this year, and I mean like take off to the fantasy, moon this year, which I believe you will. Everybody's going to be coming at you, man. They're going to be coming at you left, right, and center. Like Kyron Williams, man, he's like, but he's kind of embraced it. But just a heads up, it's going to be booming for you. But I want to ask you this. Like I said, I'm excited for you. I'll leave you with this. What would you say to everybody who's considering drafting, who's kind of on the fence about drafting you? What would you say to them for this year, expectation-wise?
Hey man, what you see is what you get. What you see is what you get, man. Like you said, like just hearing it, like man, I'm super blessed to be in this position, and one thing I can say, I'm not taking it. I ain't gonna take it lightly. So every day that I come to work, every day that I suit up, I'm gonna put my best foot up, put my best foot forward, and man, just be the best I can be. But like honestly, like what I said, what you see is what you get. So it's on you if you gonna put the faith in me to draft me. So
I
you know what
do.
I'm
I
saying.
do.
I know what my faith at. It's all about where you gonna have yours at. What you see is what you get.
I'll leave you this story I want to share with you. This is crazy. People think I'm crazy for this. So here's what I did. So I drafted Breece Hall. Everybody knows how good Breece is, how his numbers are crazy, yada, yada, right? So I ended up drafting Breece in this league, and I traded, listen to this, it's in a league that I'm in. I traded my Breece Hall for you and Keon Coleman. So check the disrespect here, right? Everybody was ripping me. How could you do that? How you're nuts. And then the people that run the league emailed me. They're like, are you sure you want to do this? And I had to justify how I love Keon Coleman. I'm like, listen, Tajay Spears is going to crush it. And I straight up 280 freed up
The
attempts.
people from the league email
The
you,
people that
man?
run the site, because they think I was like, that I got ripped off. So they were kind of vetoing the trade. I'm like, dude, are you kidding me? Tajay is going to crush it. And Keon Coleman, do you want to talk about volume there? Diggs is gone and Gabe Davis is gone. 200 plus attempts are gone. So Keon Coleman comes in. Dude, that guy's going to tear it up. So I get both of these guys. I get an ace wide receiver and I get a top running back for Breece Hall. Sure, I'll do. And I'm more of a risk taker, right? So I did. I'm like, but my team is balanced out either way. So again, that's how much faith I have in you that
Man, I
that
appreciate it, man. I
everybody called
appreciate
me
it.
crazy. Everybody called me crazy, but I'm like, no, I'm not crazy because you are extremely talented. And that's the thing with everybody. It's like they got to see it to believe it. I believe it, and then I see it. If that makes sense to you, right? Just got to have
Man,
faith.
you gotta have faith, man. You
Yep.
gotta have faith. So, but like I say, man, I appreciate you for I appreciate you for drafting me, man. I appreciate that.
Well, I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate you coming to the Fantasy Sports Summit August 21st. They got to get a chance to ask you some questions, and I appreciate how humble you are, man. It's been a pleasure having you on, and I appreciate sharing your story. I'm blessed to share your story with my listeners, and when I see you on the field, it's nice to put. It's not just a guy running. It's not just an athlete. It's a guy with a whole backstory and trials and tribulations, everything, and overcoming adversities to get where they've gotten. So I'm blessed to have seen that side of you as well. So thank you.
Man, I appreciate it.
So guys, Tajay Spears, make sure you draft him. A lot of confidence this year. Lion mentality. Tajay Spears, thanks for coming on, man.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks, guys. All right, since we're talking sleepers, I've got one of my favorite sleepers on the show. Rashid Shaheed, welcome to the show, man. Excited to talk fantasy football sleepers, and you're on the show. I'm excited to learn about you.
Yeah, so excited. I appreciate you for having me.
Man, I appreciate you coming on. I want to hear a little bit about you, because again, we just see you as a speedster. People that haven't like listened to your interviews and similarly, we had Kyron Williams, Trey Benson. They just see the person on the field running or catching balls or throwing balls if you're a quarterback. We don't get to actually see the personality. So I've been very blessed to, again, have the opportunity to have a platform and then build this to have you guys on. So I want to learn a little bit about you. I saw, if you guys don't know, he was an undrafted free agent a couple years ago, and his stats went up. Your stats went up significantly from 2022 to 2023. I want to talk a little bit about that. But again, you know more about you than me, so I'll shut up and I'll let you talk, man. A little bit about yourself, kind of on your journey to the NFL briefly, and kind of what your motivation is. Really, we want to learn about you, really.
Yeah, kind of like you started off with, I'm an undrafted free agent out of Weber State. I ended up at Weber right out of high school. I didn't have a ton of looks out of high school. I was kind of a smaller guy, kind of played mostly running back. I kind of grew into learning receiver probably like my sophomore, junior year of college at Weber State. I had a wonderful coach in Jared Ursua, who I give a lot of credit to and showing me how to, grow as a receiver. But my time at Weber State, man, I was mostly a return man. The Saints brought me in to, kind of fulfill that role. Thankfully, I was able to show that I could also play receiver, and that's how I was able to get the opportunity that I did early on in my career. I had faced some adversity coming out of college. I had tore my ACL my very last game at Weber State, so that probably played a big role in why I was undrafted. Coming out of college, I was kind of already on the borderline. Coming out of a small FCS school. Teams how how it goes. They don't know if you can play at the high level. You never really play against the big competition. So, they kind of don't give you the full credit that you might want. But everything happens for a reason, and I've really enjoyed my time with the Saints, and I continue to, I'm excited for the expansion in my role.
Yeah. Do you know what your current ranking is for fantasy football right now? I'm just curious if you kind of know where your ranking is right now.
I couldn't tell you. It's probably not the highest.
Okay, because I told Trey Benson that he was RB42, and he was kind of shocked. He's like, "What RB4?" Like again, he wasn't
Yeah.
aware. So you're currently sitting. They have these consensus rankings that I think are total BS. They come out every year. They're just like consensus rankings. I'll give you context here. Like Sam Laporta was ranked 21st last year amongst tight ends. He finished as like a top tight end. I was telling people, don't always trust the rankings. I never do, because it's just not. It's not right. So you're currently sitting as wide receiver 56. And you're coming off typically in round 12s in a 12-person league. I mean, that's a little insulting. That's why, like from a fantasy perspective, I would think.
Yeah.
And what's crazy is that on paper, depth chart wise, I believe you're the wide receiver 2 to Olave. If you look at the depth chart, and we're looking at you like that. And we got wide receiver 2s coming off early. Like, we don't know if Nico's the one or Tank Dell or, Diggs in that offense. And like, we don't know who the wide receiver 2s are these days, like Jaden Reed and like, is like Romeo Dobbs in Green Bay. So a lot of these guys are coming off very early. Whereas I think you're primed for quite a bit of volume. Am I correct? I think, like, again, you went from 34 targets to 74 last year. I know you don't probably know this exactly, but do you think you're going to get more targets and receptions this year? Do you feel that's something, in the future, like more volume for you in general?
Yes, absolutely, definitely more volume. My role is just going to continue to expand. And last year we had Olave, Michael Thomas, and me, of course. So now that Michael's gone and he's kind of set the standard for how me and Chris know how to go about business, I feel like I have a good insight on how to approach the game, and with our new offensive coordinator in Kubiak. Super excited about him. I feel like he is going to really give me and Olave and all of our receivers more chances to get yards after catch, and just the ball in our hands and to be able to make plays. So I'm super excited about that. My role is going to continue to grow. Still going to be returning and all that fun stuff. So I'm excited. Yeah, more targets coming and then more yards and everything. So
Yeah, I'm definitely excited about you because, again, you kind of came out of this draft untouched in regards to they didn't draft a top prospect out of college. Like they didn't bring in Roma Duze, they didn't bring in Malik Neighbors or someone like that. Like it shows me that they believe in you. So when I look at the depth chart, I see you definitely like it's by default, you should get a lot more volume. Now, again, us fantasy football guys, we're pretty shallow. There's always like this guy's this and this guy's that. It's just we kind of put you guys in a little bit of a bubble. Now I don't. I'm more open-minded. You're kind of known as a speedster. So like, oh, he's just good for best ball. Best ball leagues are like when you just draft a player and he has big weeks and he has small weeks and you lack consistency in regards to production. I don't see that. I see you getting a lot more volume, but have you ever heard the term you're just a speedster? Is that kind of something that you've been hearing on Twitter or anything like that? Has that ever come across your table? Have you heard that term? Yeah. You're just he's just a speedy guy. He's going to be like a one trick pony guy. Do you ever get that kind of negative, hater talk?
Yeah, I don't really look at it as negative. It is true. I am a speedster, so I can't deny
It's a
that.
good thing. Yeah, it's a good thing.
It's definitely a good thing. It's a big part of my game, which I take a lot of pride in. You can't really coach speed, but I know that I could do a lot more than that. I know that we just brought in a new wide receivers coach, Keith Williams, and he is already. You can see the difference just in our attention to detail within routes, and just feeling a lot more confident, and just feeling that this year will be the year that people could finally look at me and say, oh, he could run routes too. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Again, we're just shallow. We just kind of put certain players in a bubble, and they're like, that guy does this, and that guy does that. But again, I love your situation, the way that's going. I'm curious, how fast are you? And like, I mean, what would your 40-yard dash time be right now? Like, how fast are you? And has your speed gotten better? It's a multi-part question here. So it's like, how fast are you? Have you gotten faster? And what do you do to maintain that speed? If I want to, I probably can't do nowhere near, but if I want to get faster, if the listeners like, I want to get faster. Is there anything we could do? Should we do the ladder, speed drills? What should we do like to kind of get faster? And how fast are you really?
Right. So funny, I've actually never ran a 40-yard dash. I've never been in a time 40. If I were to do a 40-yard dash, I'd like to think I would be in the 4.2s, high 4.2, 8, 4.29. I believe
Right.
I could do that, especially, with any type of training for the 40. I've come from a track background. My whole family, mom, dad, sisters, me, myself, grew up running track. So that's always been a big part of why I'm able to have success on the football field, is because I've taken, pride in the fact that track helps with football. And, that's something that I've learned and known for a long time. And, during the off season, I spend a lot of time on speed, knowing that is, a big part of my game. Yeah, just always sprinting. You got to get on a track. Track workouts are still very, very beneficial for me, and any fast guys. Got to sprint. And yeah, I just feel like that is the key, to my success.
No, man, I'm excited to see you. You're going to be explosive. You're going to be fun to watch. I'm really, really excited. So for fantasy managers that are, again, I kind of asked this to Kyron Williams and some of the other guys. What would you say? Would you say draft you or like, how confident, what advice would you give fantasy managers who are on the fence? They're like, Rashid Shaheed, only 75 targets last year. He's just a speedster. I don't know what to expect out of him. What would you say to those fantasy managers?
Yeah, no, man, pick me up, man. Pick me up. You'll be surprised. I feel like I'm bound for a big year. The whole offense, really. I'm very excited for the year that is to come. Super confident in that. For all the fantasy guys out there, I got you.
Again, your value is amazing. Round 12, you're getting a guy that's going to get a ton of volume, big time breakout as well. I also want to ask you again, you've leveled up, 34 targets to 75. It sounds like you get more targets, you can be better. Your route tree is going to get expand in that. But what is kind of like your future? You've kind of hit a pinnacle. Like it's such a good thing to make the NFL as an accomplishment on its own. What other big goals are you striving for? Maybe, are you thinking greatest of all time, fastest of all time? What are some thoughts that go through somebody who's already hit such a peak, right? You're up here, right? And you're like,
Yes.
what is the next mountain for you at this point? Obviously, I'm just curious kind of your thought process. What's the next big goal and future goals in general?
Yeah, no, I mean, for myself, as far as from a receiver standpoint, I feel like I can, be one of the top guys in the league. I want to be able to have my name in the conversations of those Pro Bowlers. all pros. I feel like I have that potential. Obviously, I got to continue to work and put in the work to be able to be in that category. Um, but yeah, I feel like I'm gonna be put in the right position to be able to be able to be spoken in those big names like Devontae Adams, Puka Nakua, Cooper
Yeah.
Cup, Debo Samuel, all those guys that fit those roles. But yeah, so what was the next part of the question?
No, just like future goals. So receiving,
Yeah,
I know we're thinking way far ahead here, but like be
mm,
the best you could be at the position.
yeah,
Big name Pro Bowl. Any other things that you work on? Like, what do you do on the side? Is there any like side? I mean, it's full time football, right? It's kind of a
yeah,
crazy question. Is there any other side passion you do? Like even as something as silly as video games? Because I watch tennis, right? And
mm,
one of the players, he's like a top Rainbow Six guy,
yeah,
as
yeah,
well. I think it's Medvedev. I think he's a top tennis player, top 5 in the world, and he plays Rainbow Six, and he's like ranked really high in a video game. Is there anything that you do? Any other goals that you're kind of working simultaneously, or down the road, I want to be a coach or something like that? Just future goals.
yeah. I guess for now, I'm kind of focused on just the present, and just kind of being the best teammate and player that I can be for my team. Down the road, there's definitely a lot of things that I would like to get into. I do game a little bit. I don't know if I would be in a Champions League like
Yeah.
anything like that in any games, but on my downtime, I do like to game a little bit. I'll be getting into different things for sure down the line. That
Maybe
I'm
maybe a,
interested.
maybe a fellow fantasy football analyst. You come in as I'm the counselor, and maybe you're the doctor, the fantasy
Yeah.
football doctor, or something like that down the
Mhm.
road. I'm just kidding. Uh, but yeah, man, I'm really excited for you this year, man. I appreciate you coming on, and you'll be at the Fantasy Sports Summit. Looking forward to that. So some people filter some of the questions, but hopefully some people can ask some questions and specific questions for you, and hopefully you can answer them. I mean, they're just gonna be fantasy questions, like what can you do for
Yeah.
me now, or something like that,
Right.
right? So. Yeah, I'm excited for you. And last thing, really, like, how is that connection now with Derek Carr? Has that built up team dynamics? Do you feel like you're gelling better? Do you think everything in general just feels better for this year? Kind of overall overview of your offense this year.
Yes, absolutely. I feel like our offense is going into this season way more confident. We feel like that we were not last year. We weren't at all what we expected to be. We feel like Derek is a lot more comfortable within his role. Getting a chance to spend time with him and get to know him a little bit more. He came in last season and uh, maybe he didn't feel like he had all the time to get to really know all of us and build the connection that we really wanted to. But this offseason is completely different. I feel like we finally spent the time to be able to, go out on the field and have success, spend time before, after practice, getting extra time in and spending those extra hours that we know that it's going to take to have a successful year. And I'm super excited, man. The whole offense is excited.
Yeah.
We're excited to have a bunch of new coaches, new faces in the building, and to set the highest standard possible. And that's exactly what we're looking forward to.
And finally, I just forgot to ask this as well. Do you play with a little bit of a chip on your shoulder being an undrafted free agent? I was talking to Kyron. It felt like he had a bit of a chip. He was a 5th round pick. Antonio Brown years ago, I don't think he was drafted in the early rounds as well. Do you find that you play with a little bit of chip, on your shoulder, or are you kind of over that and you're kind of, or does it drive you in general being an undrafted guy instead of a guy like being drafted in round 1? Is that something that kind of fuels your fire a little bit mentally, subconsciously at all?
Yeah, absolutely. Got to play with a chip on my shoulder. I feel like that's something that I've always had. I feel like I've always been somewhat overlooked. I've always known what I can do on the field, but um, yeah, man, I feel like that chip always reminds me, how far I've came from, and to not, ever be complacent. Can't be in this league as soon as you feel like you made it, or you feel like you're that guy, or just whatever. That's when things might start to slip up. So you always got to keep that mindset. Always got to keep the chip, and that's just something that I always got to keep, especially being undrafted. Reminding teams that you skipped on me and you passed me,
Yeah.
but I'm where I'm supposed to be. Super excited to be here. Super excited for this year, and yeah, the chip is always going to be there.
Yeah, I think you're very special. I'll leave it with this. Again, I'm not just kissing butt here, I think, because you're on the show. I genuinely feel that there's something there. I remember years ago when Antonio Brown was crushing it, and I was doing fantasy. I'm really good at scouting talent. And I said, Tyreek is better than AB. And they're like, you're crazy, Tyreek, this time. And then Tyreek started, I think he was on the Chiefs, and he started emerging and stepping up. And now Tyreek's kind of like that household name, right? He's known as a speedster. I see that with you. I see that breakout potential, that really household name talk. A casual fan may or may not have heard of you, right? Like, I don't know, maybe a Jaguars fan may have not heard of you or something like that, but you got these mainstream guys. Everyone knows Mahomes, right? I think you're going to get there where you really get on the map and everybody kind of knows you. You've got that potential, right? Like, there's a lot of players that even like defensive players, I haven't heard of that guy's name or something like that, but I think you're getting there. And I think this is the year where you go from a great player to an outstanding player and everybody kind of knows your name. And I think volume is going to contribute to that. Big plays are going to contribute to that. And obviously your talent will shine. I mean, we already seen flashes of it, but everybody wants to see more and more of it, right? So again, that's my thoughts on it, but I just wanted to share that with everybody on my thoughts. I think there's something special here. That's my opinion.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Thanks, Rashid. I appreciate you coming on, man. And yeah, he's a sleeper, but look out. This is the year, man. Thank you for coming on, guys. I appreciate it. We're out.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. All right, the next sleeper, I thought I'd get him on the show. I'm excited to have him on the show, man. I'm super excited for him for the season. And he is a sleeper. Do you like being called sleeper, Trey? I mean, it's kind of a crazy term. You're being slept on in fantasy right now.
Yeah, I love being an underdog, not many expectations. So, I like, surprising people.
I'm excited for you. So they have consensus. Do you play fantasy by any chance? Have you played it before? Are you familiar with fantasy football?
No, I'm not familiar with it. I never played it before.
Okay, so every year they come out, the mainstream kind of comes out with these consensus rankings, right? So just so you know, just for context, you're sitting as RB42 in PPR, which is 1 point per reception. They consider you RB42, and you're 140 overall, which is crazy because I think you're way more talented. By the way, I got you, this is way off, I got a little bit off tangent. I got you as the RB1 for Arizona. They got James Conner coming ahead of you. And I know you guys are friends, you're on the same team. I'm not trying to start anything there, but I'm personally, this is my opinion, I got you as the RB1. Just want to get that on the record, okay? So I'm excited for you for the season, man. I really am. You pumped about the season?
Yes, I'm pumped for the season. I know they're coming off a losing season and they got a lot to prove. And it kind of reminded me of the Florida State season when I transferred there when they was 5-7. They was coming off a 5-7 season. And we came and shocked the world the next 2 seasons. So I'm excited for this season for sure.
Yeah, for those who don't know, you transferred from Oregon to Florida. I want to know how that transition impacted your career. Was this a positive move? Was it something that you go back and regret, or is it something that really helped propel your career moving to Florida?
It helped me prepare my career for sure. Coach Norvell, he took a chance on me out the transfer portal because I didn't really have film at Oregon, but
Yeah.
Coach Norvell took a chance on me at Florida State, and he just threw me out there on the field. I ain't had no choice but to develop.
Yeah, I'm excited for you, man. I mean, Florida, and then you played with Keon Coleman, of course, right?
Oh, yeah.
For those who don't know, and again, I'm talking to you like a fantasy head. So we're kind of shallow with that. We're like, hey, tell us fantasy. I'm really excited about you, and I'm also excited about Keon. I want to still go back and talk about you, but how excited are you for your fellow older teammate, Keon Coleman? Do you see a high ceiling with him as well in the NFL?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Even off the field, he is smart. He know everything about the game of football. One of the smartest people I've met. He know offensive schemes, defensive schemes. He know what the defense do, and he just a talented player. He good overall person, good personality. I know you've seen him all over social media.
Yeah.
That's one of my guys though. We talk from time to time. We be on FaceTime, on group FaceTime with some of the Florida State guys, and I'm excited to see what he can do this year. I'm not gonna be surprised because I know that he got it in him. I seen him at practice. I seen him go. I seen him make some unbelievable catches, and I'm excited for him.
I watched tape on him, and he looks like Michael Jordan for the NFL. He looks so dynamic. He's exciting, and there's so much freed up volume there on that offense. And he's got Josh Allen throwing the ball. So again, I'm super excited about him. I want to get back to you here as well. I've studied your tape a little bit. You got a powerful running style. Your ability to break tackles pretty much second to none. I want to kind of get an idea, because I'm really into the mental game for business for a podcast. I lead in fantasy football because I have a strong mentality. because you're so good at breaking tackles, again, you're one of the best to do. And I admire running backs that really like to break tackles because I grew up watching Emmitt Smith. I'm a little older than you, maybe a lot older than you. Grew up watching Emmitt Smith. I love AP. Adrian Peterson was amazing. Carrying defenders. I want to kind of get into a little bit of your, diet, training, and also, briefly your mental game. What are you thinking when you're running? Something they come up with the term running hard. Are you thinking like, I'm going to destroy the defender? Are you thinking I'm going to do this for me? Are you thinking like, what is the thought process mentally when you're running?
Me personally, I want to get tackled. So really, I'm aware. So when you see me running, my eyes be buck all the time because I'm just locked in the whole time. And honestly, I'm just trying to. I don't think about punishing my opponent. I just be out there running. Honestly, just running angry. That's all I can really say. I don't really have a strategy. I just go out there and play my game.
I want to also, I'm curious, your team chemistry right now. You got Marvin Harrison Jr., one of the top wide receiver prospects. Dude, we're so excited about him for fantasy. He's coming off, just so you have some context, if you talk to him, he's coming off in the second round of fantasy drafts right now. Ultra excited about him. How is he also looking on the field? And also your chemistry so far, integrating with James Conner there, Kyler Murray. How is the dynamic kind of, working? I know we're getting into training camp now, but how has it been so far, the team dynamic?
Oh yeah, this past week that just passed, last week we was in California together for like a week. We've been training, team bond and spending time with each other, and I just been getting to know them a little better. Um, this team chemistry is gonna be through the roof this year for sure. That's why I'm really excited, and I've been around Marvin most. I've been around him the most this past month out of all the rookies. Like me and him been together this whole time. We've been competing on the field, trying to figure out who faster, but we'll figure out soon. So.
With respect to both players, do you see a major difference between him and Keon Coleman, or do you see both amazing as amazing talents? Because again, just for fantasy, I'm talking as a fantasy nerd here, okay? Keon Coleman is coming off round 8 in fantasy drafts, Harrison round 2. Is there like a day and night difference, or are they both extremely talented? What's kind of your opinion on both?
They both are extremely talented. Keon's just a freak. He's a freak athlete for sure. Both of them are freak athlete, but Keon is a freak. He's a freak athlete, and
Yeah.
Marvin, they're like he moves so fast. That, how big he is. He just moves so fast. He moves like he's 170, and he make unbelievable catches too. I seen his work ethic, and he is one of the hardest working people I know. And I
Yeah.
think I just met him, but every time we work out, every time I see him work out, every time I pay attention to him, he giving it 100%.
I'm so excited about this season, man. I'm excited to see you. I'm excited for your other rookie counterparts. Blake Corum's out there. I heard he's going to be doing amazing things, like a Kyron William coming out at the Fantasy Sports Summit as well. He's going to be on the same night you're on, and he's going to, have some competition there. There's a lot of RB battles. Even Josh Jacobs. He's got Marshawn Lloyd there, who looks like extraordinary talent as well. Got the speed. I've been doing a lot of research on my rookies. I know you probably can't answer this, but I just want to get an idea. Have they talked a little bit on your target share, volume share in regards to, is this going to be a committee? Is there like a percentage, or is it kind of hot hand rides, or is there any type of expectation? Have you been told anything, or has anything made public with you and James Conner in regards to volume?
No, I have no idea. I just been trying to take everything in and be a sponge and just learn really. I have no idea.
Okay, cool. Yeah, well, I guess we'll find out. I think training camp determines that, and I'm excited, man. I heard James Conner's a good dude, and but again, I'm a little bit of a Trey Benson biased here, so I'm rooting for you, man. Also, fantasy community yet? Have you heard any like? So here's the thing. I want to be transparent because you haven't. You said you didn't do much fantasy before. What ends up happening, again, it's not personal. Some people get to be jerks on Twitter, including myself sometimes. If my player does well, we kind of say, oh man, that player sucked, this and that. Have you had anything on Twitter? Because you haven't played yet. Just so you know, I'm giving you a heads up. The Twitter community, the Instagram, they're like, man, you sucked on my team. Are you prepared for that? And are you going to embrace it like guys like Austin Eckler did, who kind of embraced it, kind of built a brand on fantasy football? I love you guys. And he's kind of loved in the fantasy community. Or are you going to kind of shrug it off and say, dudes, leave me alone, let me play? How do you feel you're going to adapt, or do you have no expectations at this point?
I ain't got no expectations. I'm gonna just still go out there and play my game. Still go out there and mature and learn.
Yeah.
I'm a rookie this year, so I'm really just trying to learn. Learn this first year, and once I get the opportunity, though, I'm gonna take off. So
Just understand that we have your best interest at heart, because when you do well, we do well. So it's not like, so if we say, oh man, like you didn't do well this week, it's like, okay, well, because you've put a touchdown in reality, right? It translates well in fantasy. So it works for both of us. So we want you to succeed in reality. Of course, it's also going to help in fantasy. A couple more questions here, really. How do you compare yourself? And I don't know if you do want to compare yourself to anybody, to maybe a current player now. Because again, as fantasy heads, we're looking at you like, who's this guy going to be like? Is he going to be better than this guy? Like, we're honestly judging our players because we want you on our rosters. We got, our leagues on the line. Who was kind of your idol, let's say, growing up? And who do you kind of think your game closely resembles more to past wise and currently? Like, are you more like Emmitt Smith, and in the current game, are you more kind of like a Saquon type player? Or do you have are you just yourself kind of thing?
I mean, growing up, I love Adrian Peterson. Like, if you watch my film from high school, like once he get in that open field, his head get the bob in it. That was what my head used to do in high school. So
Yeah.
I used to love Adrian Peterson growing up, and currently, I think of myself honestly. I don't really compare myself to nobody in the current era, but I know back then, Adrian Peterson for sure.
Yeah, man. It's he's one of the best to ever do it. He played longer into his career. Again, this is kind of obvious here to some degree, but I want to ask, I just want to kind of see your mentality and kind of what your goals are. What is your kind of like your goal going in? Like, and I know it's early. Are you thinking greatest of all time? Like, I'm sure every running back comes in with huge aspirations and stuff like that. But what is kind of your goal? What's kind of the big dream, in the NFL? You're here, you've hit the pinnacle. I mean, to make it here is huge. Now that you've made it here, kind of what's your goal here? What's the mindset now?
Really just continue to learn how to be a pro. My first year, and once you learn how to be a pro, then everything else will fall in place. Building my team chemistry with my teammates, and eventually win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, you seem really focused. That's what I like about you, man. You just seem, head down, focused, and that those are the players I really admire and I really like. Guys like, grew up watching guys like Larry Fitzgerald, that character, even David Johnson, who endorsed the brand years ago. Really nice guy. Went to his house in Arizona, by the way. And ironically, just to let you know, that was the year he broke out in 2016, had his big year. And I met him, I think it was the summer of, that year prior to the season. So hoping that same energy goes this way, man. I'm really excited for you. I believe it will. I believe you're going to crush it this year. But just let you know, this is a sleeper episode. You are being slept on, which is good. And hopefully you carry that and just wow people, because I think there's going to be a lot of excitement with Arizona, man. I'm super pumped watching you guys. I want to see Marvin Harrison out there. It's going to be an exciting offense to watch, man. It really is.
It is. I'm really excited too. We got a great group of guys, and I can't wait.
I can't wait, man. So thanks for being on, guys. This is Trey Benson, guys. Go give him a follow and make sure you draft him on your fantasy teams. Coming off typically round 8. If you can get him a round or 2 earlier, man, you're probably getting the steal of the draft. Where would you draft yourself, Trey? I'm guessing you draft yourself first overall, right?
Yeah, first or second round, good for me. I'm gonna educate myself on the fantasy football stuff, though. I'm not really educated right now, but I'm gonna start looking into it though, for sure.
Yeah, man. I'm the counselor. I'll counsel you on it, and any off time, just hit me up, man. I'll give you some advice. But again, you're gonna get a lot of heat from fans, and some people are just trolling. Don't take it personally. They're just trolling. And they'll come on and say, "Oh man, you didn't do well for my fantasy team." And like Kyren Williams, like for example, last year off the radar. Now everybody knows who Kyren is. So it's a positive thing for your brand. There's so many eyeballs. Like I said, when you win, we all win. Fantasy wins, reality wins. It all hand in hand, So yeah, Trey, thank you for coming on, man. If you don't mind staying on for a second, as we get off here, but thank you for coming on, man. I appreciate it. And looking forward to seeing you, man, in the season. Thank you, man.
Joe.
Trey Benson, everybody. Well, there you have it, guys. Amazing personalities. Tyjae Spears, Trey Benson, Rashid Shaheed, and Kyren Williams. Guys, great conversation, great back and forth. As you can see, the confidence there is really second to none. Kyren Williams really brought the energy for sure. Anyways, if you guys want to see these guys, it's going to be an exciting time. Make sure you guys grab your ticket, Fantasy Sports Summit. I've linked it below. Smash it, tap it, hit the thumbs up. Guys, it's going to be an amazing fantasy football season. Turn on the bell for breaking news and everything fantasy football here on the #1 Fantasy Football Podcast. Must-have players. Hope you guys have an outstanding Monday. I'll see you guys next video. Grab a ticket to the summit, guys. I've linked it below. We'll talk soon. I'm out.